Hi, everybody, and welcome back. We are live streaming our Zoom once again because technology is incredible things. And I'll add the comments to what our things are. So, welcome, everybody. Phil Nagy on Sports, as always, joined by Kit on the West Coast. Just finished our sim, did not go the Browns' way. Lots of disgusting things happening in that game, not the least of which was Deshaun Watson just getting 20 yards anytime he wanted to when the pocket would never collapse and he could just roll and run and forever. So, but without further ado, Kit, the real Browns need to do some things different. What are going to be the keys to the game, starting on the offensive side of the football?
So for the offense, the guys coming back from IR injury, so your Chubbs, your Hoopers, your Tellers, those guys, we need solid performance from all those guys. They were big keys to how our offense is designed to work. We missed them a lot. We were still successful without them, but they really are. They're pretty important to what we're trying to do. So big performances from those guys is going to be really big for us, especially the game and the weather that we're expecting to have tomorrow. So that's going to be really big in the run game in particular. That leads into the second key on the offense, which is going to be exploit this weak run defense. They definitely are not good at stopping the run. We can run the ball. If we can exploit that, we should have a big game there. And then we really need to game plan to mitigate for the elements. I think we tried to do that against Las Vegas, but didn't really do as well as I think we could have. We do a better job in this one to really emphasize the rush game on the offensive side and take advantage of where our strengths really are. That I think we should do well.
For sure. I agree with all of that. And yes, I think they tried versus Vegas to say, hey, we got to play this brand of football because of what the weather is doing. But just wasn't as successful. And I honestly believe if we had had Chubb in that game, it would have been a much different story because he is a mitigate the elements kind of player for sure.
Yes,
what about
sir.
on the defensive side of the ball? How are we going to keep him from letting Deshaun Watson run wild like he did in the sim?
Well, that shouldn't happen, honestly. If that does start to happen, I mean, as I kind of talked about in the chat, we need to be, defense coordinator needs to adjust, put a spy out there on the quarterback. But keys for the defense here. First of all, gap discipline defense. We've got to play that gap discipline defense. We didn't do that so well against the Raiders, and we got to get back to that, which leads into the second one, which is really getting back to our fundamental football. We really weren't so good at tackling against Las Vegas. They were running on us a lot, and our tackles were kind of arm tackles. A lot of the fundamentals kind of went out the window, so the gap discipline and the fundamental tackling, all that kind of stuff kind of went by the wayside, which is why they were running all over us and kind of taking our brand of football and using it against us, and we really didn't win in a game we should have won for that reason. And then the last piece of this is really we've got to finish on third and fourth downs. We have really all season seen a problem with that. When we do stop them in third, then it'll be fourth, and then we won't stop them on fourth. And we have to be able to stop teams on third and fourth downs in particular, and that's going to be key in this one.
Gotcha. So I actually have people commenting on the live stream. What was I missed the first key. What was it? So I could put it in the notes.
Okay, so the first one being the solid performance from the guys back from injury.
Oh, on defense as well.
Oh, on defense, gap discipline.
Got it. Yep. Love it. Okay. So now overall keys to the game. Let's get it.
So I think for overall, this game is really going to come down to time of possession. It's going to be a run-heavy game with the weather, the elements that are going to be in this one. So I think time of possession is going to be really key, kind of playing that bully ball. What we should have done in a similar game against Las Vegas, I think this time if we come out and do our brand of football, having those key guys back is really going to be important. Chubb, you nailed it. Chubb is a huge piece of that. And I think if we can win that time of possession, we should do well in this game. Second piece is really exert our will. That's an extension of the same thing, but we got to go out there and do what we're going to do, not let the other team kind of dictate how the game is going to go.
For sure.
And then the last piece of that, Houston, they struggled. It's not that they're bad. It's just that they're not kind of where they've been of late. They're not as good. So we have to go out there, and just like against the Bengals, we have to be the better team. We have to be more disciplined. We have to be show that we have the talent that we do and prove that in our play.
For sure. No, I agree. You got one of the steps to being good is learning how to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, right? And I think this is a team that we are supposed to beat. I mean, heck, they fired their coach / general manager. They're kind of reeling a little bit. They don't have much of a, who knows what their future is without a couple of draft picks and different things. So kick them while they're down kind of a thing. But at the same time, Watson and Fuller, I know, have been extra on fire recently. So let's talk about a couple of things that might happen. We got this one's coming from the actually the live chat. Tilted wants to know, do you think Chubb will be on a pitch count this week?
I think there's a chance of that, especially since you got Hunt backing him up. I think they're going to be somewhat modest with his carries, only for the fact that you just got him back. He's so dominant, especially when he's healthy. He may not be a full 100%. Yes, he's out of the brace now, but you don't want to risk a guy like Chubb, obviously. So I think there will be some kind of a pitch count for him, because we have the luxury with having Hunt in there to spell him. You can give Hunt a good 15 carries in the game and feel perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, that kind of leads right into the first thing I was going to ask. So what's your ideal, not an over-under per se, but what's the ideal carry split tomorrow for Chubb and Hunt in your mind?
I think about 20-15.
20-15, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Excellent. All right, second thing, we saw in the sim how Deshaun was really leaning on Darren Fells in the middle of the field, and then similarly Baker leaning on Hooper. So let's play a little game of over. Who's going to have more catches tomorrow, Fells or Hooper?
Ooh, it's a good question. Honestly, I think it might actually go to Fells in this one. I think, and that's partially because nothing against Hooper, but Fells has less of a production behind him with other tight ends that can catch the ball in the position where we've got Abercrombie, we've got Njoku, and some other guys to spread it around. Plus, I think it's going to be a little bit off on the passing game because of the winds. Anyway, so shorter passes. So you may see some tight end action in there, but a lot of the shorter passes in this one, not so much down the field, especially the seam balls that you might see to like a Hooper or some of that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. And then the last one also coming from the chat. Everybody's been awesome on the chat today as well. Demarion asking, who is going to have more sacks tomorrow, J.J. Watt or Myles Garrett?
I think this is definitely going to go to Myles Garrett. It didn't go that way in the sim.
Ooh.
I feel like the way that the sim looked, maybe not to quite the production that their defensive line had, because that was just absurd. But I think our offensive line is really good, especially having Teller back. We have been great at providing pockets for Baker. Very, very good on reducing the pressure counts for him. So I think our offensive line should do well in this one. And I think that we have the opportunity to produce, kind of flip flop what you saw in the sim, and that may be a little bit more realistic to what the game should look like.
Sure. And we'll do one more because Karen asked it, and we love Karen. She wants to know, will Jarvis get his first touchdown of the year tomorrow? Yes or no, Kit?
I sure hope so. Yes, I'm going to bank on he's going to get one.
Love it. I hope so too. We hope so too, Karen. All right. Our sim score, of course, was 42-28, not the way we wanted. What is our official Nagy on Sports score prediction for tomorrow?
So I think this one's going to look a lot more like the Las Vegas game, but I don't see us losing this one, or at least I hope not. If we play our brand of football, I think we can go out there, lower scoring game because of the elements, but I think it's going to go 20-10 for the Browns.
20-10. Wow. If we hold them to 10, I will do cartwheels all the way down the turnpike. So awesome. Well, that's going to do it for our pregame show. It was fun to have a couple of people interacting live. Hopefully this starts to become something we do a little bit more, and I'll try to do a better job of typing the keys and listening to you as well. Also, we're talking about, and maybe you can comment in the video if you'd be interested in this, about doing another live session after the games and kind of unpacking the game immediately and talking about those keys and whether we hit them or not, or boy, we were way off. They didn't need to do that at all, and they still rolled, or whatever. So if that's something that you would be interested in, again, we do this for you guys, the faithful fans. So if that's something you'd like us to do. I mean, we talk Browns all the time anyway. It's just whether or not we do it on a Zoom and you guys chime in. So if that's something you want to do, let us know in the comments. But until then, Kit, let's get out of here with a go.